Hi, my name is Kayla and welcome to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to talk about my thoughts on Beautiful World, Where Are You? By Sally Rooney. Let's go! So first and foremost, this video will have no spoilers for this book. So if you haven't read it yet, nothing will be ruined for you. So this is Sally Rooney's third book that she's released. So it came out on September 7th of 2021. So I wanted to give this author another try. Last year I tried to read Normal People after I had obsessively watched the Hulu series, which was fantastic. But then I just really wasn't into the book. I really tried, but it just was not for me. Sally Rooney has a very particular writing style, and I just could not get past it. And I ended up not finishing Normal People just after a few chapters. So Beautiful World, Where Are You? Was described by Goodreads in a Great Books Hitting Shelves This Week article as a book you should read if you like contemporary fiction, acclaimed young authors, European romances, millennial concerns, extremely complicated sexual relationships, normal people and conversations with friends, which are Sally Rooney's other two books. And I didn't like Normal People, as I already said, and because of that, I never gave Conversations with Friends a try. But when I was reading the article, it made me laugh when they said the blurb about how it had extremely complicated sexual relationships. And I figured like, oh, well, hopefully this will be like an interesting read then. So before I get into talking about the book, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you want more book videos. So starting out, Sally Thorne has not changed her writing style one bit. Personally, I have never read an author that writes in this style before, and it's so strange to me, like the way that the dialogue is set. There are no quotations, so if you're not paying attention, you may miss like who is saying what, and to me, it more reads like a run-on sentence versus like typically how dialogue is written in a story. I don't know, I wish that her lack of quotations didn't bother me, but if I'm being honest, it really does. So overall, the writing style made the story very straightforward and somewhat dry. It's written in third person, and she did do a really good job of like very much making you feel like you're a fly on the wall with like the descriptions that she gives of the settings and the characters. For me though, it wasn't until about chapter 5 that I finally got used to the writing style and I started to become interested in the story. Once I kind of got used to it and understood like what she was going for, like it did flow a lot better for me. I don't know, so if you're struggling with reading it, you probably will get used to the writing style, so if you're interested at all in the story, just don't give up on it. The book features Alice and Aline, and they are two best friends from university. So Alice is a novelist, and I often wondered when I was reading it if the character was based on Sally Rooney herself. There just seemed to be a lot of parallels with her being like a young, successful writer. There's also Simon, who is a childhood friend of Aline's, and then therefore he was also a friend of Alice's. And then there's Felix, who is a man that Alice was recently seeing that she had met through Tinder. I had found that she didn't really give any in-depth descriptions of the characters' looks right away. But when she did, it was very subtle, and she provided it just randomly throughout the story. Like randomly, she would just note like, oh, her blonde head or his slim figure, versus, with some books, they immediately will just tell you the character's physical description and be like, oh, she was a tall blonde woman, like just immediately when you first are introduced to the characters. So I liked that she didn't focus on the character's physical description. So this way, without her focusing on the character's looks, I felt like I was more able to focus on the dialogue of the story and then the emotions that went along with their situations. Throughout the majority of the book, the chapters would alternate between the two main female characters, Alice and Aline. So then after their featured chapter, like it'd be a chapter about Alice and then a chapter about Aline, in between those two chapters, you would get an email from either Alice or Aline to the other, talking about updates in their lives. So the majority of the book, they were writing back and forth to each other. The emails, correspondences between them did tend to ramble a bit, and Rooney used the email correspondences to explore different topics, but this was consistent with the writing style and the theme of the book. The characters of the book were kind of like the writing. They were straightforward and a bit dry, but they did grow on me after a while. You got to see them struggle with navigating their relationships and lives. So each character was very broken in their own way, and oftentimes I found myself really frustrated with the characters due to their actions and most of the ways they ran their relationships. I really could just not relate to. I mainly did feel sorry a lot of the time for Alice and Aline, and I really just wanted what was best for them, and I wanted them to be happy, and I wanted them to know that they deserved happiness. And although they were frustrating, I couldn't really relate to them. I still found the characters honest, and I appreciate her writing characters that would have to like fall and pick themselves back up again. I really do think this book was worth the read. I was hooked on wanting to know what was going to happen to the characters, but it was not a fun, lighthearted read. The book was pretty angsty, and honestly, you're reading a story about 4 people who are struggling to find themselves. They're making mistakes, and they're trying to learn, and they're trying to grow as people. Reading this book has definitely piqued my interest in reading conversations with friends and normal people. Now knowing that when reading her books, I will just get used to her writing style, I'm willing to definitely give those a chance. I'm not sure why the writing style bothers me so much, but it does. But it is good to know that if you kind of power through that, you'll just get used to how she writes. So I would recommend this book if you are looking for something very honest, not sugar-coated. The book was not particularly a fun read. It was uncomfortable at times. But there is something about reading a story about people like trying to find themselves that just makes you feel not quite alone. Those are my thoughts on Beautiful World, Where Are You? Please let me know what you think about the book in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe. See you in the next video. Bye!